the homework or the stuff out of the way, kind of that, cleaned up a little bit. So now, what do we want to talk about today? My subject I want to talk about today is growing a team. Okay? Growing a team. Now, listen, you do not have to have a team in this business to make a lot of money. Believe it or not, I know several people personally that made $1 million in 2022 and 2021 on their own pen. What does that mean on your own pen? Not without having agents below them. Now they had agents below them, but they wrote over $1 million of life insurance. Okay. Now you would like to say they made $1 million, but the reality is when you're making $1 million in life insurance, and so one of them was 1.2 million, that doesn't come free, right? Those guys there was a commitment. The biggest thing was their time, right? Their time away from their family, their time that it spent working. But another big commitment those guys did was expenses, okay? Because they spend a lot of money. So I personally know the guy that did 1.2 million. He's a friend of mine. He comes spend a couple of weeks at my house and we hung out. Another one that I know, Zach Marino, he did the same thing, $1 million, and he and I are real good friends to this day. And he comes spend about a week with me. And trust me, when these millionaires come and they wrote $1 million in your business, I'm sitting there with notes and I'm asking them questions, right? I'm like, what did you do? Like, how did you do that? And I've had a few that spent a lot of time at my house and shared that with me. But give you an example on the one guy that was here, he spent $250,000 in leads to make $1 million. Now, that might blow your mind, right? Like, spent $250,000. He did. That's just what he spent to make that kind of money, right? So not necessarily in leads, in expenses, right? Travel expenses, all the stuff. But he kind of shared with me what that was, and then you have your chargeback factor and all that. So do you ultimately make $1 million? And that probably not, but it's okay. Like, my God, I've worked for a school teacher and a wrestling coach to make $40,000 a year, and I know my time. I was getting up at 7 in the morning and getting home at 9 o'clock at night during wrestling season. Like, that's no lie. And sometimes you're in tournaments and everything else, you're not getting home till 1 o'clock and getting up at 5 and going back to the next day. So put a lot of time and effort to make 40,000. So for somebody to say, well, I profited 500,000 on my own pen, and I'll take that all day. It's a lot of work. Those guys worked hard for it. But listen, I say all that. I get on these rabbit holes. Sorry about that. But listen, I say all that to say you do not have to have a team to make a lot of money. You can make more money than you've ever made in your life. You can make NBA type money, right? Or sports stars money. Maybe not quite that, but you really can make a lot of money selling life insurance. All right. You got to work for it. It doesn't come easy. And don't ever let me tell you it's a get rich quick. It's not quick. It takes a while. It's a learned trait, as we learned yesterday, but you can get there. You can get there. And there are ways to get there. Okay. Now, building a team. Why do you want to build a team, or why would you want to? Residual income created and passive income. What does that mean? Passive income. Making money off other people's efforts, right? Now, here's one thing I don't like. And I wish some of our agents that aren't not on here were on here to hear me say this. I don't like people bringing on people and other agents, and I'm just telling you from a CEO standpoint. And if you guys have the ability to turn your cameras on, I want you to. If you don't, then I understand. But if you possibly can, I appreciate it. Here's what I do not want, and I will not embrace this. If you are hiring agents and you are not plugged in, and you're not attending trainings, or you're not doing your own trainings with them, and you just simply hire people and say, go get them, that is not the agent's first way. And you and I are going to have a conversation, and I can very easily say, you probably need to go work for another IMO, because this IMO is not for you. We do not just hire people and throw them to the wolves. You get an override on your clients for a reason. Whether that's 5%, 10%, 15, 20, whatever that is, we decide is what we need to do. You're getting paid by the carrier money for a reason, and that is to support the people that you bring on board, right? Nobody deserves the money if you're not doing anything for it. How fair is that? If you're going to build a team, then you build a team, but you do it the right way. You have team meetings, you embrace your team, you challenge your team, and you lead your team by example. What does that mean, lead your team by example? It means if I'm going to tell somebody to sell, I better dang sure have sold myself, right? I need to have done it myself. They're not going to respect you if you didn't. So you need to do that. Now, I don't say you have to always sell. Once you get a team growing, your efforts might be better spent supporting your teammates. And that's okay too. As a wrestling coach, I remember when I first started, I spent a lot of time on that wrestling mat. Like I literally would get in there and I felt like the best way, because I didn't have all the studs in the room yet. So the best stud in the room was the coach. So I'd get in there and wrestle with my boys. But as I got older and I began to develop leaders on my team, I didn't have to get out there and wrestle with those kids anymore. And thank God for that, right? As I hit 50 years old and I began to hurt in places I didn't know I can hurt, I began to back off of that. And I developed leaders to do that. And that's what we do here. Same thing, guys. You develop leaders. There will become time you don't have to sell. How nice would that be, right? That say that we built a company and I no longer have to sell, but I'm going to support my agents. But do you still work? You guys know I don't sell as much as I used to. I'll sell a policy probably 3 to 4 a week right now. Um, but I don't work like I used to in the sales aspect. But does that mean Coach White doesn't work? You guys know my work ethics. And you know that I'm constantly busy doing something. And it's growing a team and building a team and supporting you guys. And I think everybody on this call can say that they've reached out to Coach White at some point, and I've talked to you and I spent time with you, and I will always do that. I don't care how big this company goes. It's kind of funny. My phone number is my Zoom channel, guys. People are like literally, that is my cell phone number. I've had agents say, well, I don't want to, what phone number should I do? Do I need to go get another phone number? I'm like, why would you do that? I want people to call me. Like we're in the people business. Y'all realize that? We're in the people business. I want people to call me. I share my cell phone number and I don't have a second phone. I do, but I use it for my live transfers, but I use this one for whatever. And so just know that, right? So you can build a team. Let's talk about that. Why would I want to build a team? Well, for that passive income to embrace. Do you remember me telling you that there's nothing better? When people ask me, when should I start building or when should I start hiring? I say today. Even a brand new agent, I'll do it today. And here's what I tell them. There's nothing better than making money with a friend. Would you all agree with that? It's like it's cool when I make money, but when my best friend made money too, how awesome is that? Right? And if you had a running partner in the beginning that you can bounce things off with, it motivates you. One of the things in this industry, we lose a lot of people because they feel like they're alone. They don't feel like they had the mentorship and they don't have the training. Now we debunk that with our company because we do just what we're doing today. But there's a lot of companies that do not have that. And trust me, I know that because I talk to agents every week. And I said, what did you not like about that company? And I hear over and over and over again, poor mentorship. And I couldn't get hold of people. They hired me on and then they kind of ghosted me. I hear that all the time. Guys, if you're doing that, you heard me a while ago. If you're doing that, you're not going to say a part of Agents First. We have to have leadership here. And we expect you to get plugged in and get involved. We expect you to start selling and selling from Agents First carriers. I'm going to say that again, selling from Agents First carriers. If you are plugged in, are we captive? No. Do we expect you to sell through our company carriers? Yes. Okay. And if you want to talk about that in private, give me a call and we'll do that. But it's got to start somewhere, and it starts today. We start drawing the line and we start using our carriers. Guys, we're a team here. We're going to grow your team. We're going to be helping you hire agents. I place agents under people all the time. I don't need them direct to me. At some point, I need to put them under people working. But who do I put them under? I need to put them under good leadership. And who are the good leader in this team? People that is selling with our carriers, people that is plugged in, people that I can count on when we have these Friday calls. I'm going to look on here and I see 22 people on there, and they're people that I say they're plugged in. They'll make a great leader. I got somebody in California. Misha's my leader there. I'm going to put him over there under Misha's team. I've got Leanne in Texas and Helen in Texas that are very, I know what they are, leaders, because I've watched them and they're plugged in. I'm not afraid to give those two ladies somebody. Now, do I want to give them just anybody? No. I want to give them good people. If I worry about somebody that maybe they might be flaky, I'm probably going to keep them under me, be honest with you, and then get rid of them if they flake out too quick. But we'll figure those things out. So growing a team, you can grow a team. Now, how is the best way to grow a team? I've actually stumbled onto something. And listen, I've done this for a long time now. I spent thousands of dollars a month on hiring campaigns, literally more than that, thousands of dollars a month on hiring campaigns. I've done them all. I've run through Facebook. I've ran through agencies. I've recently found something I kind of like, and I'm hiring a lot of good people this way, and they're all licensed agents. Every one of them licensed agents already done. They've already did their part, and I'm using 𝒑𝒏𝒄𝒄. It's called 𝒑𝒏𝒄𝒄 AI. Google it. Check it out yourself. Now, on that, I get for $200 a month. What I get with that is 5 states, right? So for $600 right now, my investment is $600 a month, but I get 15. He actually gave me 16 states. I get every life insurance agent in that state to, I get their phone number, their email. Now, every state, Texas has 2 million agents in Texas. I have the availability to call or send a text to 2 million people in Texas. Now it's going to take a long time to do that, so I don't. What do? I've got 5 or 10 agents that are licensed in Texas. We let them do it. So what I've done here is I took in my cost and I said, I will pay the brunt of this, but if you're willing to pay $50 a month, only $50 a month, if you pay $50 a month, I will give you a state of our states, or give you and someone else a state. And you guys can now have all those 2 million people. If you chose Texas, you say, I'll pay $50. I want the names of every agent. Now, it don't just give you the names of their agents. It tells you when they passed their exam. Now, why is that important? Think about who you're hiring. I was calling at the very beginning. Here's what I did with 𝒑𝒏𝒄𝒄. I looked at my agents that just passed their test this week. And you got to realize in the state of Oklahoma, I'm getting about probably 10 to 20, almost on a day, probably about 8 a day that take their test and pass. So over the course of a week, you got 40, 50 new agents that just passed their test. And I get access to that every day. So at the beginning, I was having Jane and myself were calling these agents. But when I called them, here's what I said. I said, hey, Bill, this is Darren White over here at A1 or Agents First Life. It looks like you just passed your life insurance exam yesterday. How'd that go, brother? And he's like, oh, it was all right. You know, a little tough. I said, man, how long did you study for that? He'd be like, yeah, I've been working on it for a little bit, but I finally got it. Well, man, I want to be the first IMO or company to congratulate you and welcome you to the life insurance industry. Man, it's the best thing in the world for me. It changed my life. Hey, Bill, or whatever I said his name was, Bill, have you already committed to a company yet? Or are you open to opportunities? And I just listen to what he says, right? A lot of times those guys have committed already because somebody helped them get that life insurance license. So those can be good and they can be, well, and if they say that, I said, perfect, keep my information. And about 3 or 4 months down the road, when you decide maybe it wasn't the best choice, give me a call. Okay. Now you're just planting a seed. But here's what I found out. Those ones that, when you go back and you go through that list, find the one that's been licensed about 2 months to 6 months. And those are the ones you want to reach out to. And why? Because those guys have already tried that company and they realize, I kind of don't like it. They're making me pay all this money for stuff. And believe it or not, I talked to a guy yesterday or 2 days ago, and he's Anthony. He might be on here today. He's one of our new guys. He started on, and I'm not going to say the name of an IMO because we're being recorded, but he started on with this different IMO, and he said, they charged me, I paid $450 already just to go to work for them. And then I have to buy their insurance. And then they're wanting me to get plugged into this other lead program. And he said, honestly, I hadn't even made any money yet, and I'm already this much in debt. And he said, I don't know if I see where it's going, where it can benefit me. And so he and I I was able to listen to that. So one of the questions I ask when I talk to these people that's been in the program for a little bit, here's my question. I say, so you've already working with somebody, right? You've been in it for a couple of months. Yeah. Tell me about that experience. Oh, they'll talk. Trust me, they'll talk. And when they do, I ask them these questions like, what is it you didn't like about it? Okay. Now, okay, perfect. Well, let me share with you the Agents First experience and how we got started and what we put focus on. And we talk about those things. And we talk about A1 leads. We talk about mentorship and training. We talk about the different verticals. And here's what I want to put a little focus on. We talk about our verticals. Why is that important? Because I truly believe that Agents First has the vertical for everybody. And eventually, you will be involved with all of the verticals. Vertical simply means a lane of work, right? Health insurance, advanced markets, debt-free life, IULs, retirement, annuities, final expense, mortgage protection. We do it all over here at Agents First and embrace it all. So when I'm talking to him, here's what I say. I listen. And when he told me it was about those expensive leads in the beginning that he was having to front money up when he don't even know what he's doing yet, I said, how would a penny a name go to sound? He said, what? And I said, yeah, a penny, basically a penny a lead. Would you be interested in that? Well, heck yeah. Tell me about that. Well, here, guys, where do I get those? Those are our health leads. Now, it's not really a lead, it's a name, but how did it turn into a lead? We send them a text message. Okay? Now, if I sent Leanne a text message and it told her all about group insurance and she's a small business owner, I can now call Leanne and say, hey, Leanne, this is Darren. I sent you a text message earlier this morning, and I wanted to follow that up with a phone call. It was about the group health insurance. Are you free right now, or do you got a few minutes? Don't take me 2 minutes to visit with you. You got a couple minutes for me? And she says, yes. That turned into a lead, guys. And I did that for about 3 cents, right? A penny for the lead and about 2 cents for the texting. So I did that very cheap. And it was just following up with a phone call. So I tell this guy that when I'm hiring, I'm like, so that's an example of what you do with that. Then that health lead turns into a life insurance sales because I'm going to couple that health sale with a term policy every time I'm going to. And I'm going to couple it with one of the GTL, right, Leanne, the GTL programs that will do a short-term medical. So I'm going to get a third policy from it. And guess what I'm going to do? They're a small business owner. Now, they probably don't have somebody contributing to their 401k because they don't, if they do, they probably don't have one because they're a small business owner. So I simply say, so how long do you plan on working before you want to retire? You want to work the rest of your life or are you going to retire? Well, what if I were to be able to show you an incredible retirement plan that we do? We got the best retirement company in the industry. And I would like to show you how that would work. And then if he just said, well, I really don't have the money to invest in retirement, I said, well, that's all right. We got a debt-free life program that I want to show you. It's simply you don't put any more money you don't spend any more money next month than you did last month. But I'm going to show you how you can simply get out of debt in 5 to 7 years and be debt-free, totally pay off your mortgage, everything else, be debt-free without spending any more money. Now, would that one interest you? It would? Perfect. Well, here's the deal. Let's get all your debt paid off. And once we do that, we use that money and we start building your retirement. So we're going to kill two birds with one stone. Let's meet a week from today, and I'm going to give you a paper, and you're going to fill it out for me, and I'm going to plug in and get some illustrations ran for you. All right. And so, guys, what do we do with that health lead? We just turned that into a Fortis account off of somebody that's a small business owner. It cost me about 3 cents to get. Now, when you're hiring agents and you just went over that scenario with them, you tell me another IMO that's doing what we're doing. And go ahead and unmute yourself and say, I know one. Who? Tell me. I challenge anybody to tell me a company doing what we're doing. They're not doing it. And I'm going to tell you why.
Agents first.
There you go, baby.
Said agents first?
Agents first, Scott. And let me tell you why they're not doing it. Because the old mindset of don't chase two rabbits because you'll never catch one. And they'll say, stick to your lane. Guys, I say, open up those lanes wide open. This is 2025, and we're not your grandma's insurance company. That we are agents first, and we are here for the masses. And we're going to grow like you never seen. This agency, why would you want to work under agents first? Let me tell you that. Why would you want to hire under this company? Because you either get on board or get out of the way, because it's about to steamroll over. And we will be one of the biggest IMOs in America. I have no doubt that's going to happen. We're going to be one of the biggest IMOs in America. Why? Because we have leadership, we have mentorship, and we've listened to our agents. We listen to our agents. And we hear you saying stuff like, Darren, I think I've got an agent that wants to do Medicare. Guys, we will be into Medicare. I'm not yet. But just know that that will come down the road. And we will have another vertical in Medicare. Now, do I expect Leanne to sell Medicare? Heck no. Leanne needs to stick to what she's good at. But does that mean Leanne cannot hire somebody to do Medicare? Sure she can. She can start hiring agents and have another vertical making. Listen, those residuals on Medicare are second to none. The only thing better is your residuals on health. Now that's going to be the best. That's where you're going to make your money at, your residual money. But all those things are good. You know, I'm talking to the agent. I said, so let me say you go into your thing and you're into people that's been in it 1 and 2 years, right? So maybe you work through your 2 months. Now you're saying, okay, I'm at the 1 year people. You know what I'm going to say is, how do you like chargebacks? Because guess if you've been in a year, you've dealt with chargebacks. I'm going to say, how would you like to be able to get 100% residuals for the rest of your life? Meaning every month that person pays a policy, you're going to make that money every month for the rest of your life. With no chargebacks, ever. And never any roll-up debt from your team. Ever. Would you want to know more about that? Well, heck yeah. What do you mean? Perfect. Well, we're using LifeVest or A1 Health, and I'll show you exactly what that means. Boom. So guys, we have what we're looking for. Quit looking. Quit writing through other companies thinking that I'm not sure what I'm going to do here. Guys, if you hadn't figured it out yet, maybe it's time you just go back to your other company. I just tell you straight. If you don't think this is the best place on the planet, how many of you guys have ever sat through an annuity training outside of Scott's? How many of you fell asleep during those annuity trainings? I literally fell asleep during an annuity training one time. My buddy pokes me on the side and says, wake up. And I woke up for about 3 minutes and fell back asleep. Boring. IUL trainings. Guys, the problem we've had with the IUL trainings in this industry is they go so fast, they'll be on point B, C, and D before you ever get the concept of A. And it's very overwhelming. And more agents get plugged in and they don't have no clue of what they're doing in IULs. I'll tell you right now, 80% of all these agents, are probably higher, are selling IULs and have no freaking clue of what they're doing. They're told, you know what they're told? And Scott is agreeing, I love that. Well, here's what they're told. Max fund, minimal insurance, 100% of the time. There's never a situation where that doesn't work. Well, I would rather do that than do a max insured minimal funding, because that never works. But does a max funding minimal insurance always work? Is that always best for your client? Heck no. You've heard Scott talk about that. It's not always what's best. So get involved with trainings, but let that. So when we talk about what Agents First has, we've got, in my opinion, the best trainer that I've ever sat under in advanced market. Because I've sat in Scott's training and I go through an hour and it feels like I've been in there 10 minutes. And how many raise your hand if you agree with that? Scott's training, why does he do that? He gets you engaged and he involves you in it. That's important. Guys, believe it or not, I'm a school teacher by trade. That's what I've done. And I was a principal and I taught my teachers to be student-centered, student-led education, to get them plugged in and get them involved. And I know the power of education, guys, because I've got 23 years in it, and I've got a master's degree in education administration. I understand that concept. I understand what it takes to teach and to train. I understand that if you get the people engaged and involved in your training, then training goes a lot farther. And that's what we do here at Advanced Market and within Agents First. And Scott does a phenomenal job. I told Scott this morning he could have been a professor, in my opinion. And he really is. He's a professor of AMM under the Agents First School of Education, right? So we're teaching our people how to sell. So, guys, that's what we have here. So hiring agents. Do you want to hire agents? Do you not want to? That's up to you. Do you want to sell the rest of your life? Do you? Or do you want to build a team and let your team sell for you? There you go. Would you like to build a team and sell it to an integrity at some point? And there's a whole nother, what are you talking about, Darren? There are companies out there, such as Integrity, that buy the Integrity Marketing Company that buys companies from within, not just Agents First, but companies within Agents First. And every one of you guys are going to have the opportunity to grow a team so big. Now, one of my mentors and the other IMO I just came from, he is their newest Integrity partner. Literally last week or about 2 weeks ago, they signed off on a deal. Maybe closer to a month now. Time flies. But he signed off. He's an Integrity partner. He sold his business to Integrity. What did that mean? He made his millions of dollars. And listen, it wasn't the IMO that the IMO had already been bought out by Integrity. They went within and they said, I'm going to start buying agencies. And so now as Leanne grows her team, Leanne, what's the name of your agency within? I can't remember.
Epic Squad.
Epic Squad, right? Squad? Is that what you said? Okay.
Yeah, Epic Squad. So Epic stands
Squad.
for Excellent Protection Insurance Coverage.
So Epic, and it will be the Epic Agency, right? Would be the Epic Squad Agency. And
Epic Solutions.
There will come a time when her team is going to be doing $1 to $2 to $3 million a month. And here's how Integrity does it. They will typically go 7x, right, of what your monthly income. So if you're doing $1 million a month, then they're going to come in and they're going to offer you about $7 million for your company. And you can kind of do the math, 2 or 3 million a month. So your job, Leanne, is to get into Agents First and start selling, teaching your agents to do exactly what you did. Find your five, right? That's a big thing. What I promote, find your five. Because if you find 5 leaders and you teach your 5 leaders to do the same thing you just did, the power of duplication is crazy, right? And I've done the numbers on that, and it will blow your mind when you do the math on it. Find your 5 and teach your 5 to do exactly what you did. You don't have to find your 1,000. Find 5 people, but get the 5 that will do exactly what you're doing. If you find your 5 and plug them in and teach them to do, they got to be coachable. That's one of the questions I ask every time I hire somebody now. I say, are you coachable? Because if you're coachable, I'll teach you to do exactly what I did. I was doing $100,000 in 10 weeks. I did 25,000 in 1 week. And that was when I lost my eyesight. I did it as a blind guy. I showed this to a guy last night. You guys have all heard my story, but you got to see it visually. Whenever I turned, when I lost my eyesight that time, and I was pouting for 3 days, pouting, telling myself I'll never be able to sell another insurance policy. And what am I going to do? Woe's me, pat myself on the back. Poor Darren, right? Here's what I didn't take into account for. My poor wife is sitting there scared to death because this was our retirement. This is what what are we going to do? Whenever I went through that situation, she went and bought this for me. Check this out. Huge keyboard, right? Colored, everything. This right here, can y'all see this? It is a big old freaking magnifying glass, and it sits on my computer. And she laid that at my feet, and she says, with tears in her eyes, "Suck it up, Buttercup. Time to go to work." I'm going to get a shirt that says "Suck it up, Buttercup." I live by that motto now because it did two things. It inspired me and it pissed me off. Not at my wife. Thank God for people like Becky. If you don't have somebody in your life that's pushing you and prodding you and encouraging you when you're going through a bad day and you're feeling sorry for yourself or you say, "I'm sick," you don't need somebody to say, "Oh, you poor thing." You need somebody to kick you in the rear and says, "Get up and go to work." And thank God for people like my wife, Becky, who that day, 3 days earlier, got on Amazon, ordered that keyboard, ordered the magnifying screen, and laid it at my feet and said, "Suck it up, Buttercup, go to work." You know what I did? I went upstairs to my office and I was spending $1,250 a week in leads. That was my lead cost, right? I always almost 10x every week. So I knew what I could do. I took that magnifying glass, I put it on my computer. I put my keyboard, I practiced. I did a practice app. And I typed an application up with it. It took me longer than it normally does, but who cares? Who cares? I did it. And I got online and I'd ordered an extra $1,250 worth of leads. So I spent $2,500 a week that week alone in leads. And guess what I did? I bet on White, right? My last name's White. I went to Vegas and shared this story with them. And I said, I bet on White. And everybody's like, "Oh, I go, no, it's not racist thing. I bet on myself." And I did. I bet on myself because I knew if I can 10x on $1,000, if I 10x on 2,500, we're going to come out ahead. The very next morning, I wake up and I started calling my leads. My very first person I talked to, I closed. My second person, I did not close. My third person, I closed. And I closed, end of the day, I think I wound up closing 5 of those for between $7,000 to $9,000 in that range on AP. Killed it. One of my better days ever. And listen, I didn't let my situations determine my outcome. I said, I'm better than that. I'm gonna figure out a way. Thank God for my wife, and I found out a way. I did $25,000 in that 1 week alone. That very first week, I did $25,000. What is that? 10x? I'll just 10x whatever I'm spending. If you guys if you're spending $100 a week and you're only making $1,000 a week, well, you're 10xing your money. But what if you want to make $10,000 a week? What do you need to do? The numbers don't lie. I was proved. So what they did, they heard about what I did, and they flew me out to Vegas. And a guy named, one of the gentlemen out there with that company, leaders of the company, who sold to Integrity for about $17 million with his company. He flew me out to Vegas, and I go out there and I spoke to a big crowd of 3,000 people. And my saying was, if a blind man can do 25,000 in a week, what's your excuse, right? And that was what we did. And so the reality is, never let your situation determine your outcome. Be better than that. Be better than that. You guys got access to do whatever you want in this life and in this industry. And if you're having a bad day, get over yourself. If you're having a bad week, having a bad month, get over yourself. If you got a lot of debt built up, fix it. Don't hang on to it. Sell. Sell like you've never sold in your lifetime. Work 12 hours a day until you get out of debt, 15, 18 hours a day. And you get started and you bust your butt and you fix your situation. Guys, you're better than that. And every one of you can do it. Nobody here, I don't think, you all have your story. Everybody on here has your story. I don't know if any of you quite experienced all the stuff I went through in the last 3 or 4 years. I went through some crazy stuff. Who knows what tomorrow's going to hold for me? But you know what? Regardless of whatever happens, I will be a better person from it, and I will learn from it. And I promise you, it will not determine who I am. And I will be a better man and a better business person at the end of it. Most of you guys hadn't lost your eyesight. And how many of you can say, if that were me and I lost my eyesight, and when I say that, I couldn't see 3 foot in front of me. Now, it got better. Thank God for doctors, right? Who I go to doctors quite often and get lasers in my eyes, and they burn off blood vessels, and we regenerate new ones, right? So my eyes are getting better. Thank God, right? I've had major surgeries in both my eyes, and I'm getting better. I thank God for doctors. I thank God for insurance. Can you imagine without health insurance what I'd be right now? Guys, I'm telling you, that stuff's not cheap. And so thank God that we got a health insurance company that is every bit as good as the same insurance I've got right now. So I can go on and on and on, guys. I don't even know. I got off on a tangent once again, rabbit holes, but I hope that we got something across today. Hiring agents is a good thing. Hire the right agents is a better thing. And it's up to you what you want to do if you want to build. But if you want to build and you want to get plugged into that $50 a month, here's what I've started doing. I don't even call those agents anymore. I stopped it. Check this out. This is going to blow your mind. Do y'all know that we have a CRM that will send text messages out? What if I were to take all these agents in that state, and don't do 2 million, obviously that's crazy. That'd kill you on expenses on texting. But what if I send out 100 every day, 100 texts to 100 agents? Check this out. What I started doing last night with my health leads. In the morning, they get a text message from me about health insurance. In the evening, we started this last night for the same price, maybe a little bit more than a text message. They're getting a phone call from me. Now, it's not me. I did a voice recording, and I sent that in last night. And would you believe during the middle of the night, I had about 15 phone calls saying they were calling me back. Now, they were on the phone. This is probably one. This is one right now. I guarantee you it is. They're calling me back. And they're wanting to know who this is. I didn't answer it because I want them to get my voicemail and I want them to hear. Because guess what happens on the next morning? They're getting another text message today. And that text message is going to have my calendar link on it. And they're going to book an appointment in my calendar. I no longer have to call people. I simply let our CRM do the work. Now, what if you did that very same thing with hiring agents? You spend $50 a month. You get unlimited names, phone numbers, and you plug those into your CRM. You send your own text message that you think is whatever you want to put on there about your company. And then that night you followed it up with a voicemail where they hear your voice and they hear your enthusiasm. Or I will give you that voicemail and I'll do one from the CEO, this Darren White, the CEO of Agents First. I wanted to reach out to you and share this opportunity with you, right? One of my favorite agents, Leanne, is going to be visiting with you tomorrow and going over this plan with you. And then the next morning, they get that third text with your calendar link. You can start hiring agents and just letting your CRM do the work and never have to call them. So let me show you my schedule today, just off what I just told you. Okay? This is my appointments today. Okay, starts off. Here's your schedule today. Get this in every morning. Marcus Stoll, 11 a.m., Oklahoma hiring lead. Diana Carter, 11:30, Oklahoma hiring lead. 12 o'clock, Busha Rashad, Oklahoma hiring lead. Ryan Kilmer, 12:30, Oklahoma hiring lead. Robert Cravath, 3 o'clock, Oklahoma hiring lead. All those came from a $50 investment and me sending out text messages to them. I hadn't even started the voice recording on those yet. Those are just for text messages one time. Wait till we really start doing this thing the right way. We figured something out here, guys. And if you want to grow a team, just put in your chats right now. I might be interested in that $50 thing that you're talking about and using the CRM to do that. And let's get plugged in and let's grow. I would like nothing more to have 20 agents right now that we got on here, and each one of you guys grow your team to $1 million a month. You could do it, but you've got to do it the right way. You've got to do it the right way, okay? And the right way is everything we talked about today. So I'm done talking. Appreciate your time. Any questions for me? If you want plugged into that $50 campaign, let me know. Put it in chats, and I will personally call you. And that don't start until May 1st. So you won't need to pay until May 1st, and that'll give you a whole month worth of resources, okay?
Hey, Darren, I
Yes,
just want to jump in real quick. Guys, I got to tell you, man, if this doesn't fire you up on a Friday morning, the fact that, I mean, dropping mics left and right, this is our leadership. This is who I decided, and my team that came over with me decided we're going to hitch our wagon to this. If this does not show you the heart of a leader and what it is, who we follow, something something's broke. You know, but I'm telling you right now, it is an absolute honor and privilege to work with this agency, with this IMO, and with you, Darren.
Thank you, Scott.
Guys, I hope that this did something, that you guys were taking this to heart, that you were listening today, because this industry changes lives. Your mindset will change your life, and you make sure that you don't be your worst employee and best boss all at the same time today. Okay. You make sure that you owe it to yourself, give it to yourself, get out there and keep the work going, keep plugging in, and let's make it a fantastic day. That's just my ad that I had there.
Thanks, Scott. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate your support. And I'm here for everyone. This is truly, I'll be honest, last night we did a new agent training, and I don't know who's going to hop on, but there was two people that stuck around at the end of it, and Michelle's one of them. And what did I tell you guys? For you guys sticking around that call, I bought you leads, right? So I just, out of my own pocket, I'm going to go buy them leads because they happen to just randomly show up for a call that I wasn't, I didn't know who's going to show up. And so I'm buying them leads today. And so you never know, but that's the heart of who I am. I will always support my agents if my agents will support themselves. What does that mean? If you're simply go to work and believe in yourself, I will always support you and back you. Okay? Do it the right way. Teach your people to do it the right way, and you'll have my full support. Okay? Love every one of you guys, bottom of my heart. Y'all have a blessed Good Friday. Remember, the reason for the season is not Easter bunnies; it's about the resurrection, and we love love every one of you, and y'all enjoy your Easter weekend. And let's come in Monday morning with a new attitude. Go out there and sell like a mad dog today. Go have fun, change your life, change your family's life, and it all starts today. Love you guys.